Vibhaji, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ashwani ji. Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm okay, going on.
All set?
Always.
Okay.
Me too.
So we will wait for maybe Tripti will coordinate when we will
Yeah, we'll
start.
just
Yeah.
wait for 3 more minutes and then at
Okay,
3
Tripti.
we'll
Yeah,
start.
fine. Thanks.
I'm looking forward to some great conversations. So,
Yes, I hope so.
without
Yeah.
me being ready, it's about a great conversation happening with the team.
നീ എന്താ ദ്രോണം വിളിച്ചത്?
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of AI5 and on my personal behalf, I welcome you all for the training program on improve bottom line through HR analytics. So today we'll be having the session from 3 to 5:30 p.m. And now I would like to invite Mr. Ashwani Joshi for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Tripti. Good afternoon, everyone. And in addition to my colleague Tripti, once again, welcome to this training on improve bottom line through HR analytics. I would like to extend a special welcome to our faculty, Vibhaji, thank you so much for very kindly agreeing to conduct this session for AIFI. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So as I think the participants already know that we in AIFI now are organizing training related to all functions. And HR being a very, very important function, we thought that we should also have a very specific program which ultimately is going to help to enhance the bottom line. And it is related to analytics, as saying goes that data talks if we listen. Database data, I mean, decision driven by data has always helped.
പ്രശ്നമുള്ള കേസല്ല പക്ഷെ ജയത
Ashwani ji, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So, good afternoon, everyone. And once again, welcome to all. I have great pleasure to welcome everyone to this program on improve bottom line through HR analytics. And a special welcome to the faculty, Ms. Vibha Anup. Vibhaji, thank you so much for very kindly agreeing to be the faculty to conduct this program for AIFI. As I would like to mention that we in AIFI have been trying to conduct the sessions on all functions, including HR. And I think this is specific on HR analytics would be a new sort of topic. But this is a very important and sensitive topic. As the saying goes that data talks if we listen always. The data-driven decisions are, very, very helpful. And we have seen organizations growing who take the data-driven decisions. And in our meetings, also investor region meeting and AFI meeting, we have been, discussing about the skilling, reskilling, skilled manpower shortage. If we take this into consideration and see the HR analytics and work on this, so we feel that this will really help in our organizations to improve and ultimately helping to increase the efficiency of the people and also the capability. So looking at this, this topic has been chosen, and I am sure having Vibhaji with us, who is an expert in this particular area, will definitely will make this very, very exciting and engaging. And I'm sure that there will be a lot of observations, question, comments. And as we always say, it should be two-way kind of session, not only that the speaker is talking and others are listening, but the kind of participants we have, I'm very sure everybody is looking forward to this session and make it more engaging and learn how we can make use of this session today. So without taking much time, I would once again like to thank everyone who has joined today for this session. And Vibhaji, once again, thank you so much for agreeing to conduct this session for AFI. Over to you, Tripti.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So with this, we'll move ahead. And before we move ahead, I will just like to introduce our faculty. So today we have with us Ms. Vibha Anup. She is the director and founder of PHI Age Talent Enhancers LLP. She is a distinguished leader in organizational and people development. She has 20 plus years of extensive experience in high impact HR strategy and transformative changes. She was a former head of HR for Godrej and Boyens. She served as a program director, Aditya Birla Group. She has a proven expertise in building leadership capabilities, driving change, and aligning people strategies with business goals. Before we start with the session, we are just having few requests to all the participants that please mute your mics during this session so that you will get to hear Vibha ma'am properly. Once we start with the question answer session, you can unmute yourself if you want to ask any questions to the faculty. We'll be having a question answer session at the end of the session. There are few delegates who have joined the session using their device name. So we request you to please change your name, mentioning your name and company name. With this, I would like to hand over session to Vibha ma'am and Rahul sir.
Okay, thank you, Tripti, and thank you, Ashwani ji. I sincerely thank AIFI to give us this opportunity to share something on HR analytics. It's a subject very close to my heart, and therefore, very, very excited to take this session for this team. I just want to, I know Trupti has told everybody that they should be on mute, but as I said, we want to make it a very, very interactive session. So, please, if you need in between any clarification, I would also, as I told you, I'm looking forward to some great conversation because I strongly believe that, the learning comes once we share. It's not about only having a one-way discussion. So we will, keep asking questions in between and would like each one of you to share your experience because today there are around 30 people on this forum. I think it's a great amount of all put together, great experience on the table. And I'm sure in the next 2 hours or so, we will kind of come out with some interesting learnings for each one of us. So looking at that, I would now start the session on improving bottom line through HR analytics. When I was given this subject by Shwani ji, I was very excited. And the reason being is that, we are talking about in the HR fraternity about improving bottom line, which is so key to, the new age role of HR, which is coming in. So far, HR has been looked at as a supportive function, as an enabling function. But today, whether it is boardrooms, whether it is leadership, the expectations from the HR fraternity is that it really works on improving employee productivity, improving bottom line. It is no more about only management of people, as they say. It is about how we can actually improve the overall people productivity. And HR role is transiting from really only looking at people management to actually looking at workforce management. And therefore, this whole topic, which was improving the bottom line through HR analytics, was something which I found very, very interesting. And of course, we will dwell a lot on what is going to be, how we can use the HR analytics tools as an HR fraternity. But what is important for all of us to really, as HR managers or people managers, understand that today the role of HR is transiting from just management of people to actually looking at productivity of the workforce. And there are various things which are expected out of the HR fraternity today, which we'll cover, of course, in detail as we go along. Rahul, can you share the next slide? I think I don't need to cover this. I think Trupti has covered it well. So what will we cover today? Okay. The first is that, many a times I believe that, today's thanks to ChatGPT and, the kind of sessions, kind of, information which is available to us, sometimes words are used very, very, loosely, I would say. So I want to dwell a little bit on what is HR analytics and why it matters today, and especially in a forging industry, how does it matter? So that's something that we will spend time on. We will also look at some real case studies tailored to the forging operations. We will go into depth there and understand that. Of course, the major issues like reducing attrition, improving workforce planning, managing cost. How can you do that using HR analytics? And would like to understand here also what some of you are doing in order to get this done. And, we will also discover a little bit on the HR KPIs and strategies, actually. So a little bit on the software aspect of what is it that is required, once we have the data through the HR analytics, what is it that we need to do? We spend some time on that. So that's how we will structure the next 2 hours. And then, of course, leave it for a lot of question answers. I want to give good time for the question answers so that we can. So let's say we will do the session for 2 hours and then maybe spend 15-20 minutes on question answers. Yes. Next round. So if you see, as I understand the forging industry is an industry where, we have a lot of, it's a very tough environment overall. It's a high heat, there's heat. It's a tough environment. It's also an environment where high level of skill is required by the labor and, the workforce that we are looking at. And there is also a lot of precision which is required in the work, and especially you're working. In this kind of industry, the labor productivity or the workforce productivity actually drives the performance of the business. And keeping that in mind, it is very important that we as HR professionals understand that how important it is for us to use actually contain the cost or maybe reduce attrition or impact the productivity so that the overall profitability of the business can go up. So if you look at in the forging industry, all the more the function of HR is very, very critical. And it's important that we have we really work on the, as HR professionals, we understand the role that HR plays in terms of the forging industry. So when I look at what is it that the HR, how does it matter for the HR, and how HR really looks at the forging industry. First of all, the thing is that we are talking about labor intensive operations, and that kind of depends, and therefore being a labor intensive unit, the skill and the stability of the workforce is the critical thing that we have to look at. So I'm sure many of you grapple with these issues that we have to look at the skilled workforce and the stability of the workforce. Absenteeism, which is this last summer, I'm sure many of you all faced a lot of issues in terms of absenteeism across India. It was a chronic issue which most of the HR professionals were facing. Absenteeism and mismatch of skills actually lead to downtime because it's a very high precision work and there's a lot of rework which is there. Safety and fatigue in a high heat environment are very critical, and therefore the role of HR in terms of face safety, how can we kind of reduce the fatigue and ensure stability of workforce, reduce absenteeism is critical. We also need to ensure that the workforce is ready for working that 12 hours in a high heat environment and give consistent productivity. And there are many examples today which are available that say that if we have the right operator on the right skills at the right press machines, for example in forging your press machines, then maybe the quality defects will really drop by 15%. There's some study which is also there and that can be available post this session. So this is the HR importance in the forging industry. How many of you, I would like to understand from this team, anybody, do the issues which we've talked about really really matter for all of you too? Anybody from the team?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, really.
Yeah, Pramod, yes. This is
Yeah, yeah.
something that all of us are grappling with, and I'm sure that, and we will see as we go along that how HR analytics can really help in dealing with this kind of concerns, which are all of us as HR professionals working on. Now, before I actually go into what is HR analytics and how it can support, how HR analytics can support, I want to spend maybe the next 2-3 minutes on what is HR analytics. So just stay on this slide, Rahul. Don't change it. Anybody, what is HR analytics? Anybody from the team? This is an interactive session team. So anybody, I'm going to ask a lot of examples also as we go along. Yes. Pramod is always saying, but anybody else active? Should I take names? Satish. I don't know, Satish, Suhas. What is HR analytics? One from Eastman is there. Okay. So HR analytics, if you see, most of the time, what happens is that we collate data as HR professionals. Someone from the management will say, okay, give me what is happening in terms of the diversity in our shop floor. How many people are from which state? Please let me know. And many a times, even as HR professionals, we are playing a role of data gatheration. Now, Rajneesh is talking about, can we get this PPT? Yes, yes. Yes, we will send some of the slides, but after the session, for sure, we will send at least a snippet of the whole thing, for sure. So if you see many of the, when we talk about HR analytics, or it is also called as people analytics and talent analytics, what comes across is that it is a tool in order to help the organization answer a lot of questions to a lot of problems which keep coming in. So actually, HR analytics helps in answering critical questions. For example, let's say someone tells you, what is the attrition rate? Now, it's a very easy question, and most of us as HR professionals do that. We understand how to measure attrition, and we can give the management in a jiffy what is the attrition rate. But if someone asks you a second question, which is, what is the regrettable attrition rate in this, it becomes a bit more difficult. You will say, okay, I'll come back to you and let you know who is the regrettable attrition. Regrettable means the people whom we really did not want to go, but they went, or your skilled workforce. That's what. And let's say someone else who's really done some work on HR analytics before, or analytics before, or leadership, ask you that, okay, what do you think is going to happen in Diwali? In May, we face so much issue. During Diwali, do you think we are going to have attrition? And unless we have data being analyzed, we have the data, mind you, as HR. But if we have this data analyzed, we cannot take right decisions. So HR analytics is all about actually converting this data into information, and from information to an insight, to analyzing what can be done. That's all about data analytics. So moving us as HR professionals, not looking at playing a role of data gathering and leaving the decision to the management, HR analytics is all about actually collating the data, analyzing that, putting the information together, and then having some insights for which, and going to the management with some case for certain HR interventions to happen or certain policies to be put in place. So this is HR analytics all about. Rahul, can you go to the next slide? So HR analytics is about a data-driven approach. No more of gut feeling. No more of saying, I think this is going to happen. And many times our guts are right, mind you. But today's decision, in the age of ChatGPT and technology, everything is data-based decision making. Therefore, analytics helps HR professionals to take data-backed decisions. HR analytics also helps HR professionals to move from just being operational teams to playing the role of data gathering to actually becoming strategic HR partners, to actually become partners and help the management take the right decisions, or maybe at times suggest options and they're taking a call from that. It also helps in business case. It's not care, business case for HR. Sometimes you want to introduce a policy. If you go to the management saying, hey guys, I think in summer we should be doing this, but we should increase the labor rate by so much, it may not work. But if you do this, that last year so much was the absenteeism, so much of the production loss which happened, and because of the loss we had so much of an issue with the customer, and if this year you give an 50%, this is the cost, and based on this cost, but we will have the absenteeism come down by so much, and our production will increase by so much. then it is a business case for taking, then you are really helping in taking the right decisions. So, even for your HR interventions to actually go through, we need the HR to kind of HR interventions to happen. And the fourth one, it's a typographical error. The fourth one, which will help in HR analytics, is also that it will help to measure the effectiveness of any intervention. I like this. Someone said HR analytics is a process of collating data and forecasting insights. Analyzing to gain insights to improve business outcomes to the workplace. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. It's about analyzing the data. It's from moving from data to information to insight in a very, very simplistic manner. It is to move from data, whatever we collate, to actually coming to some information, and from information to insight. And if you see, most of the people, when they make presentations to the board or to the management, they are all only information. They stop at information. But what HR analytics as a tool helps you is to move from information to insight. So this presentation here, we will try to give you some KPIs, some parameters on which you can actually, which will help, if you measure them correctly, you will be able to get some interesting insights about your company. And based on that, you can take some right decisions. Okay. Next, please. So, when we say that today's company, today HR has to really work on data-based decision making, it is also important, and especially in a forging industry, to understand that what kind of different matrices you can measure in order to actually, meet the production goals, which is the PQDSM. How we can help in terms of what are the HR matrices that we have to use in order to actually, improve the overall, let's say, cost, productivity, quality, safety, and morale of the company. So if we can, as HR professionals, have some HR KPIs, which can helping in the shop floor KPI, shop floor throughput, uptime, downtime of machines, and rejection, then really we are making a difference in terms of improving the bottom line of the company as HR professionals. So what we're going to see now is a few matrices which can help in improving the overall operational goals of the organization. So of course, some of you know what they are. Maybe it's attendance, training, skills. We do that, but how we can use it in order to bring insights on the table is what we will try to cover in the next few slides. Next, please. Next, please. We'll go back to this one. So, if you look at the labor cost and attrition, how many of you are grappling with this one? Most of us are grappling with this one because in forging industry, it's a very tight margin industry. And considering that, if you have the labor cost have to be in control, and also attrition of the skilled workforce make a lot of difference. Typically, if you see in terms of attrition, most of the people will look at, things like they look at, okay, what is the turnover rate? But what is important, what HR analytics say, is how you can use predictive models to identify the high risk employees early. What kind of predictive KPIs you can analyze in an organization in order to ensure that, okay, what are the high risk employees, and can these employees really go in sometimes, and how I can then decide on what actions to be taken. Of course, you analyze the trends in terms of reasons for exits, whether it's heat stress, lack of growth, poor supervisor feedback, etc. And of course, it's all about how we can use certain actions. So, once we get the insights, it's also important to recommend certain actions in terms of, peer support or rotation or wellness, how we can do that. So when we look at the attrition of any company, we could have nowadays, it's not only about looking at the exits and the reasons for the exit interview analysis, but also have some predictive models in order to identify the high risk employees early. Now, what could be some predictive examples? One of the companies where we've done some kind of advisory work, we looked at, that there is high overtime hours of certain places, low supervisor feedback scores, in a particular, if we do that kind of searching, there is pending grievance come in. I think someone needs to put on mute. Yeah, thank you. Then there could be some, grievances which have come in and that have not been resolved. You have certain workforce which is not attending any training recently. There is a low attendance which is coming in. There's some kind of active participation is not there in town hall meetings. There is a negative sentiment. So we can, as considering our company, identify certain predictive factors which can, if we kind of measure these factors, we can somewhere predict that is there some high risk employees in the organization. And based on that, and this cannot be done for everybody, but at least for the skilled workforce that you have, in the highly skilled and skilled workforce, at least for these two categories, we can have identify some predictive factors, and based on that we could take a decision that okay, this is a, and then you kind of take actions in terms of counseling or maybe changing the role, including some training for that person, or for that matter some recognition in a town hall meeting. You could take certain decisions in order to kind of curb the attrition to a certain extent. So this is what one of the key HR analytics dashboard which I think the HR fraternity can use for improving the bottom line is to look at attrition analysis of where is, and using the predictive factors in order to ensure that we can curb, how we can curb the attrition using this. And then based on that, of course, you can have various initiatives that one can put in terms of wellness program or some counseling or some rotation of job. There's some wrong influence happening, so you can do some rotations in the organization, that kind of a thing. Yes. Next, can you please go to the next one? Now, this is some chart which I thought I should just share, on attrition that we had, and, that this was on, different kind of things that this company had looked at. And of course, I thought it will just give some idea to the company, to all of you, on how we can, of course, we can keep working on this, and as we go along, we will also show you. But, having an attrition dashboard, which actually gives, function-wise, area-wise, tenure-wise, gender-wise, skill-based wise, attrition analysis can really, really help in understanding well the trend. And based on that trend, we can then take decisions. Today, if I see most of the HR fraternity, they spend time on helping with the data, and someone else in the management is actually doing the analysis. So please, guys, spend time on actually preparing the analysis and going to the management with data-backed decision making to say, hey, this is the problem, and I think this needs to be done in terms of sorting out this issue. Next, Rahul. The second, so one is in terms of the HR dashboard, and I think the second piece, before I go into that, Rahul, can you go to the absenteeism one dashboard? Yeah, the earlier one, yes, yeah. So, the next one, please. Next, yeah, yeah. So, the second big issue, which I think most of us need to look at, is in terms of, this whole employee headcount, and the demographics around the employee headcount, which is also very critical. And here we had an organization which was using BI in order to ensure that how we can kind of, look at the different parameters of attendance and how then the HR team can work on the same. So this could, of course, talks about the dips when it could happen. It talks about, what kind of leave people are taking, what kind of absenteeism ratio is there, in terms of also in terms of, there's sick leave or casual leave if it's come in. So, this is the kind of dashboard which I request the HR team to really work on. Here, I want to just wait and ask any of y'all that can you please tell me some innovative thing which this some of you all are doing in terms of attendance for your team, in terms of really looking at attendance and absenteeism of the workforce as a critical. We talked about attrition, but I want to understand in terms of absenteeism, what kind of dashboards or analytics are you all using within the organization? Anybody? Anybody, any insights? Are you all using HR analytics, any of you all?
We are analyzing the attendance through this punching, because we do have punching machine, which is,
Okay.
which is connected to the software. So automatically we will get the data.
Okay.
We are analyzing data through this punching machine, and
Okay.
leave details we have to say separately. We have to compute.
Okay. Okay. So, one of the things, in fact, Pramod, you touched upon something which I want. Yeah, Harjeet, you want to say something before I answer this? Take it forward. Harjeet, you saying something? Okay. Before I kind of, spend some time on this, I realized one more thing, that most of us as HR are, sometimes also grappling with, getting this data in a dashboard well. And the first important thing, I think, before we move to HR analytics, like I told you, the flow is from data to information to insight. And I've seen that many a times HR professionals are actually spending a lot of time in data collation because the data is not in one place.
Exactly, ma'am. Whether this is done through any app or separately in Excel, so it's separate.
Yes, yes. So the most important thing first, if you really want to work on the different HR analytics, is actually to work on how the data can flow seamlessly into one system or a one Excel. And today there is a lot of tools available, just like APIs one can build, which takes some time, but it's actually like a project where you ensure that whatever data is coming, how it can be flowed in seamlessly into one dashboard. See, making these dashboards is very easy today using technology which is BI, but what actually flows in this is the data coming from different systems. And today what I'm seeing is that most of the time either the data is inaccurate or the data is scattered in such a way that almost HR teams half of the time goes in actually only collating that data. So the first step towards improving the bottom, using HR analytics, is also understand what kind of data points are required, from where this information is flowing, and then ensuring that the accurate information is flowed into one Excel. And you can really use, there are a lot of companies available. Even my company helps in actually having data analytics put together so that you can actually take decisions based on this data. So if you're grappling from the step one, which is that, data accuracy and having all the data at one place, then you cannot move to the second place, which is the information. And from information, if it's not coming onto a BI dashboard or an interesting dashboard, you cannot move to insights. So team, please work out on this one also if you're really genuinely looking at HR analytics, which is here to play. As we move ahead, data-backed decisions is going to be the way forward. It's important that we really use data as our best friend. I always say data can be your best friend or your worst enemy if you don't have it. Next, please. Yeah. Next part that we are going to cover is that if you look at, workforce planning in tough environments. So we covered absenteeism and we covered attrition. These are two great HR dashboards that you can use in order to really improve the bottom line. The third and the key thing is how do you really do your planning in terms of, and which not many people in HR do today. It's more of today operations which do, but HR can really play this role if it has the right kind of decision, that right kind of data, is to how do you plan shifts based on fatigue and productivity cycles. Do you really look at fatigue as a parameter when it comes to, planning of shifts and planning your workforce planning? Now, today, we are giving so much of importance to employee well-being. And this is something which is so important today because actually, if you see the overall, while the longevity in terms of age has gone up, the overall health or the, overall health parameters in the younger generation, thanks to the lifestyle that we have, has gone down. So the kind of tough environment in which earlier generation could work, today's younger generation, the boys who come on the shop floor to work, may not have that kind of. So fatigue is very, very important to look at when it comes to actually planning the workforce planning for in a forging environment. And therefore, we are going to touch a little bit on this aspect of fatigue and productivity cycles also. Then, of course, the whole second thing which is important is the skill, and how can analytics help in, understanding the skill gaps and then, developing a training program based on the skill gap and, that kind of a thing. And of course, then, how you can do the entire training piece based on, the whole skill gap which is done. So one is to kind of, how do you plan the shift? What is the kind of workforce availability which is there? Then based on that, how do you look at the skill gap analysis, which is going to be an important thing. And then we look at something which is on training need identification and then scheduling the trainings accordingly. So you can use a lot of HR dashboards for all these three parameters as we go along. Yes. Next one, Rahul. So if you look at skill level parameters, level parameters when it comes to what kind of dashboards one can look at, of course, these are some of the examples, and we can have a lot of examples, but I kind of like this whole training. When I looked at anybody's training analytics of any company today, especially in auto component, I see the thing which is measured by HR is, the one which I have wrote on the right hand side, which is training hours per employee. I mean, this is something most of your people, I'm sure, kind of, measure. There is also, thanks to OEM pressures, we have a training effectiveness score, which also many people, it's not a score, but we have post-training assessments being done, and we try to kind of collate this feedback and do that. We also have something which is on-the-job training. I think on-the-job has become an important thing, and many of us as it's an audit requirement also that we look at the on-the-job learning that happens. And then, of course, we have this whole 4 levels of skill proficiency that we look at, which is yes, Shivanandan. So we look at the average time for skill proficiency, which is the time taken to move from beginner to trained. So we have, the whole matrix from beginner to trainer to trained to trainer to troubleshooter. So all that kind of levels we have, and this is something that we measure. But what we could go further in terms of, skill level parameters is, skill matrix coverage that we have, which is, percentage of employees with updated skill ratings. Of course, you can have a drill down, which is department wise, and for that matter, line wise and shift wise also, how the skill is being deployed on the shop floor. And we can also have that based on the skill levels, is the productivity gone up? Of course, we have, we can have color coded visualization of the skill category, which is there in different areas. So it becomes very visually understand. It's very easy to understand what is the level of skill that we have. We could have a multi-skilling index where, we could also measure how many employees or workers are skilled in more than one critical process. We could have skill gap analysis, which is of course, which are the falling short the required skill in each department, in each role. So that is something that, rather than only saying okay, how much is the training that we have given, we also look at what is the skill required for this particular role and where is each of the workers. For example, in one of the clients, we went section by section and mapped what is the skill requirement which is there required, and how much is the percentage of those skill required in that particular thing, because not everybody has to be highly skilled when you look at one department. And based on that, what is the actual that we have and how we can bridge the gap. Then of course we have, we could have a certification process in which we could identify that, based on the skills that are there, how many are certified and non-certified operators. So if we have this kind of analytics which are there in an organization, and for this, of course, there's a lot of work that has to happen in the back end to be able to put something like that together. Because once this table looks very, it's a very easy thing to put, but to actually map this, when we have a fluctuating workforce, and continuously have that evaluated and put it onto have that data collated, is something that as HR professionals we need to understand, we need to really push for. Because without that, having this becomes purely a documentation thing. But if I imagine that as HR professionals we spend time on this and we actually do a meaningful job of this, the kind of impact that it would have in terms of the productivity of the shop floor, and based on that, how this productivity, if it goes up, how it can really help in terms of improving the bottom line of the organization. And imagine the role that you as HR would play then in that within the organization. So if HR analytics is a great tool, it's a great weapon in the hands of HR professionals to be able to even not only boost the bottom line of the organization, but also boost your own career as we go along. Because data is going to be the way, data driven decision making is going to be the way forward. No more it is all about gut and experience. It's about data. And last week I took a session where we had to also talk about how we had to, that today how important it is to have dipstick surveys. If you want something to come up, for example, if we have to have an attendance scheme to come up in an organization, what is important is to just today we could have said, okay, what is happening in this industry, what is happening in that, based on that I will decide. But sometimes it would be important to understand how is your workforce, what is the diversity which is there, where what is their need actually, and based on that devise a policy or a scheme to curb absenteeism. So it's important to use analytics in such a way that you can make the right decisions based on the workforce that you have within the organization. Next, Rahul. Another thing that is interesting, which I've seen on data analytics, is about workforce deployment and optimization. Like, for example, we can have, some examples which I have really, we've used this kind of things as line balancing efficiency, which is to say that how many are, as I said, available, deployed versus availability. We also could use that, which are the shifts which we couldn't get the productivity due to the absenteeism within the skilled workforce. So, the skilled absenteeism within the skilled workforce is also something that we can look at. There is also shift by skill distribution heat map, which is more to do with a visual map showing the spread of shifts and machines. So, for example, this is a very interesting phenomenon that we have seen in one of the factories, which is it's new concept, in which we have that based on the you actually show on a map between the different shifts that we have and the machines that we have, how are the skill levels in the company, and how these skill levels are in every shift shifting. And visual representation of that will make it very easy for the supervisors and the HR to take decisions. So that's something that we could have. We could have something where we have an alert dashboard for licenses or safety certifications due for renewals. That also something we can look at. We can have track critical skill workers nearing retirement or with high absenteeism. So that's also another dashboard that the HR fraternity can work on. And then, of course, how much of bench strength we have. Is the replacement readiness there? What is the kind of training program that we need to do? This kind of analytics of KPIs, if the HR is measuring, can also help in terms of improving the bottom line within the company. So that's something that we have. Next one, please. Here is a dashboard that one of the companies is working on, which is to say that how many employees are there, how many are skilled, and how many are unskilled. What is the actual skills function wise, and what is the expected skill which is required, and then how here this is the skill, and still we have someone who's at the basic level. So how then based on that one can take devise the training programs based on this and accordingly. But today what we do is that we do a skill level maybe every quarter. In some companies we do, but yearly, honestly, as HR professionals, we do this job more from a audit perspective, and then rather actually looking that this is something that helps in terms of improving the productivity of the company. So, most of us as HR professionals look at training from a documentation perspective, which is required from, because of, the OEM pressure or a tier one pressure. So we realize that if we want to, but as HR, we have to understand that if we really work on the skill levels and we actually work on the improvement, we track, really have high impact training linked to some analysis that is done, it can help in improving the productivity of the organization. So that realization and spending time on that is very, very critical if we want this data to be used for improving the bottom line within the organization. And I keep telling my HR folks that it is really most of the time I have seen audits. Before the audits, I've seen most of my HR colleagues sitting and looking at the documentation, and really when the audit is passed, they kind of take a hoof, it's closed, and I have 8 days done. But actually, if you start working on looking at it very systematically of the kind of impact you can have if you work on the skill level systematically in the organization, it is great. Because most of the time I've seen that even us doing firefighting will to a very large extent come down if we really start working on the skill level, which is really what is required, which is what is actual, and how we can help it. Otherwise, we at HR are only and only working on headcounts. How our headcounts are coming? Am I really meeting the numbers? Then you keep fighting with the people on the shop floor. Yes, we have given the numbers, but the productivity is not coming in. That kind of things. But if you start working on skill level, analyzing the skill level, having the trainings as per that, analyzing the absenteeism and what impact it is really having in the organization, then we move from, as I told you, just being operational HR to actually playing a strategic HR role within the organization. So guys, when you next time look at your skill gap analysis, don't only look at it from a perspective of, okay, I have to look at the number of training hours that I have done. I have, or for example, what is the effectiveness as per the document which is given. But look at what is the skill which is required at each of the workstations. What kind of skill am I providing today? What kind of training, therefore, I need to give in the organization? What is the absenteeism rate which is going to come, which can be forecasted? And based on that, what kind of people I need to bring today? How do I need to plan that? Those kind of decisions, when you take, your firefighting as you go down the line will also reduce drastically. So this is a circle which we need to kind of, come out of as HR professionals, because we, most of the time, we look at training as something that is only to be able to meet the numbers. It's just about, okay, we need to meet these numbers, no, so many mandates. But if you look at this whole exercise from an HR analytics lens, it actually sees that how, if you work on the skill levels of of the employees, it can actually improve the effectiveness of the company. So we looked at absenteeism as one of the HR dashboards, which is very critical. The second, we looked at what is in terms of looking at skill levels. Attrition is something that we have to look at. So we do use predictive analysis, like, the supervisor feedback and everything, to be able to, work on this. And the third that we talked about is training. So if we look at these three dashboards and we work on bringing these three dashboards together collectively based on our business need. See, there are many parameters on which one can, bring interesting dashboards on the table. But it's all about what is the problem that you are facing, highly customize that based on, the data which is available for you, and also ensure that the data is, mind you, accurate also. Many a time, your HR team will bring you some data which may not be correct and may not help you to take the right decision. And therefore, you always and always again go back to your gut to say, okay, I think this is what needs to be done, because there is a pressure of taking a decision immediately. So what is important is to really work on the data accuracy also. And based on the accuracy of the data, kind of put it together and then put it in a format in which you can try to take decisions based on that. So please go to the previous one, Rahul. Yeah. So, before we go into an exercise, I wanted to actually share with you a real life case study, which will kind of, help you step by step how, one of the companies really looked at HR analytics tool and what all did it do. I want to kind of, tell this team that post this exercise, post I sharing this, I would like each one of you to tell me the constraints that you are facing, because I would like this to be a very, very interactive session, so that we can, I can understand your constraints, what you all are facing, and based on that, we could do some kind of, brainstorming together. So that's going to be the way after this, this flow that we're going to talk about. So here I'm going to share with you a step-by-step approach to, let's say, in a forging unit, when you have fatigue as there, how can you go about it, and what are the steps that you can take as a team in order to ensure that, we kind of work on the whole, use analytics for improving the bottom line. So the first thing that, first step, of course, is to collect data. So, if you look at, we could look at peak fatigue times in the company. So we say this is an analysis you conduct to identify which are your peak fatigue times, what is the unplanned OT that is happening, and when is the absenteeism and early exits happening in the organization. So let's put this data together in order to understand how we can improve the productivity. So the first step is to understand that when are the times in the entire 12-hour shift or an 8-hour shift when there are fatigues happening, which are the months or the days when you have really the OT which is unplanned, and when are the absenteeism and the early exits happening within the organization. And of course, you could use understand this all using the biometric machines that we have. Pramod already talked about that. The second step, once you conduct this analysis, would be to redesign the shift structure. So, I don't know whether you as HR professionals would be, and maybe, the PPC team really does this today for us. But as HR, many a times I have seen that the PPC team also does not move people for 2, 3, 4 shifts continuously. If a person नाइट में आ रहा है तो वो नाइट में ही आ रहा है, वो अगर दिन में आ रहा है तो दिन में ही आ रहा है वो बंदा. So what is important as HR to put a foot down and ensure that we have people coming in rotation. It's a very basic thing, but most of the people today don't do this. I had lately someone's talking about people working for 24 hours working. I said, how is it humanly possible for someone to do that? He said, नहीं manpower का shortage था, हमको चाहिए था नहीं तो customer का. I said, correct है आपका बात, लेकिन did you get the productivity what you wanted? The answer is no for sure. So, okay, during peak times, we are not in a esoteric world. We understand that this is a concern. But as HR, are we highlighting that people need to be coming into shifts? And are they being rotated from day to night to evening to night? And is this being followed systematically? Is there a proper break for people between shifts? So, we look at this data, and based on that data, we put it on the table. So please analyze this data too in the organization. How many people are continuously coming in one shift? Are they really moving from one shift to another? Because these little things will also improve the productivity in an organization. Next, Raul. Then the third, of course, is skill mapping. So once you have understood the analysis, you've done the kind of an fatigue analysis, you've done when am I OT, what is the requirement that we have, you've looked at the shift mapping and how the shift scheduling happening. The third piece is, of course, skill mapping. Are the people allocated in the shifts having the right kind of skill combination, which is required as per the analysis that we had done in terms of required versus actual? Is that being done in order to ensure that really the right skill set and the right combination is being allocated to each of the shift? Are we really manning based on the fatigue zones that are there? And then based on that, we also as HR can predict that if there are any non-compliant shift patterns that are happening, please highlight that. That, okay, this person should be coming in this. As HR today, I've seen most of the people, there's a company that we are working with, there are around 8-9 plants that they have, and the HR team's time only goes in actually the first 10 days in payroll processing and ensuring that the biometric is registered for people and people are being put into the system, and they based on that system they are actually paying the salary accurately. That's the role that HR is playing. I don't know whether this is the same thing for some of the people here, but I have seen most of the HR professionals, the 10 days of theirs of the junior team, not the head of HR, but the junior team is only going in ensuring how the payment is happening accurately based on the physical availability of the person. It doesn't go beyond that. Whereas actually, this is something that you should be doing by having a great HRMS product who can take care of these operational things, and you can actually start working on these things which are going to really help the organization in terms of improving the productivity. So really work on what kind of shift composition is there, how the skill levels within that shift are there, and how is the right kind. And if you have the data, you can influence this decision with a production guy. If you don't have that data, you cannot influence that decision. They'll say, okay, you don't know, you please, this is not my role, this is my role. But I would say no. Today HR is evolving to the role of improving workforce productivity. That's the ask as we go ahead. And based on that, it is important that we actually start working on understanding which are the non-compliant shift patterns which are coming in, are really the right kind of skill sets put together within one shift. I'm sure many of the HR professionals today, we think, look at the numbers, how many people are coming in that shift, have I done my job? But we don't think that what kind of people who have come in, what kind of skill composition they have, and is that skill combination is required as per what is required or not. Many a time some of them may be doing, but it is an after the thing is done that analysis is done. But we never see this. We also don't see how many people are continuously coming in the night for days and months, because in the morning he's doing some other work in some other company, or he's driving a rickshaw, or he's having his own shop where he's sitting, and therefore he's continuously coming in night. But understanding this, that rotation of shift is important, and having those people come correctly within those shifts can really improve the productivity of the company is very important. And therefore, while we can look at attendance, which most of you I'm sure is doing, that how many are required versus how many are actual coming, it is important to drill down from there to look at what kind of skill set is required, against that what is coming, what kind of who are my employees which are high risk employees, and how I can curb the attrition. Are there some supervisors who really don't know how they're talking to the people, and am I really working on counseling the supervisor to say how you need to treat these people? Because guys, the situation is changing now, as we see the whole generation, Gen Z cloud in the staff. In the next 5 years, that whole thing is also going to come on the labor workforce. It is here to come. It is how, as HR professionals, we can also equip ourselves to deal with certain things like that. So if you look at the new thing which I feel that the HR should track, and this is a new concept which I am really talking to a lot of people about, is shift compliance as a KPI. Are the shift actually as per the schedule? Are they adhering to that? Can we have a shift compliance dashboard where we are putting the skill level, we are putting the attendance, we are putting at what is actually the skill gap which is there, and how that is, what is the absenteeism rate which we were expecting, and what has come in based on that. So can we have something like that being defined for our company? And for sure such things will help in really building improving the productivity. But all this team can happen if our data is accurate. I want to again and again stress on that. And this cannot happen unless you really have a very structured HRMS in place, which can take care of basic data collation. And you have the data gathering also done systematically within the team. Next, please. Of course, anything that you do, how much ever we talk about data, we are dealing with humans here. And we as HR are more and more responsible for this human aspect when it comes to in this world, in this VUCA world, as they say. So culture building is also very critical if you're looking at improving the bottom line. And for this, we are doing a lot of awareness sessions among the people, training the supervisors on how to, why this is important and how they should be dealing with these people is a very big piece of this whole change management that we are talking about, in terms of looking at HR analytics. So what is important is to work on the culture also. And based on that, there is a lot of training, a lot of hand holding we need to do of our supervisors. I had a shop floor in which the supervisors did not know the names of the people also critical. It's a small team, guys. If that one-on-one impact is there, if that engagement is there, then definitely it helps in the improvement of the. But that's one of the pieces. If you really want HR analytics to become a weapon for you all as HR professionals, then you also need to work a little bit on the culture of the company. And then of course there are feedback loops. How do you can do surveys, as I told you, a quick survey, a dipstick survey, You can involve the operators to get more feedback on the session. So this kind of thing could help in improving. So if you see, these are the steps, these are the 8 to 9 steps. If you do this systematically, you should be able to use HR analytics on the shop floor and really help in improving the productivity of the team. Okay. The one more piece that I wanted to talk about is that in terms of looking at HR as a partner in terms of lean manufacturing, because we have so most of the people, if you see today, are talking about in the industry 4.0, they are talking about lean manufacturing. They are talking about IoT, they are talking about robotics, and in all that, what is important is that how HR can play a partner in this. And in fact, recently I talked about a subject which was People 4.0, which is something very different from Industry 4.0, which is how, as people managers, we are kind of helping the teams adapt to this whole Industry 4.0 environment. And if you see in that, we are talking about things like, HR really working on strategic goal alignment, working on engagement of people, working on accountability to be improved, working on capability building and building skills such as dexterity, digital skills among people, and then also working on leadership 4.0, which is how to groom our leaders to deal in such an environment. And therefore, I feel that as HR fraternity, we play a major role in terms of even lean manufacturing. And how can we, as today, what most of the HR professionals, we have a pillar, of course, in lean manufacturing, which we are talking about. But if in this also we can have HR have a great analytics, can play a great role in terms of lean manufacturing to give the right kind of data in terms of cost, training, ROI, and productivity and accountability to be able to kind of play a role in terms of lean manufacturing. So if we look at the key takeaways for this session, and before we kind of get into this, what we're going to do is that Rahul, can we have the breakouts now, breakout rooms?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I think team, we would like to do a breakout. I think we are 36 people here, and I would like uh, to do 4 breakout rooms, and and each one breakout room would look at attrition, another will look at absenteeism, third will look at skill mapping, and the fourth one will look at the challenges which are there in terms of building HR analytics within the organization. So we will do 4 breakout rooms, and each one will have to give us, for example, the person who's dealing with absenteeism has to give the KPIs which they can kind of put together, or the dashboards that one can do in order to ensure that how we can measure absenteeism and how it helps in improving the bottom line within the company. Same goes for attrition. What you can measure as KPIs under attrition, what are the different parameters that you can measure, and how it can help in terms of improving the bottom line of the company. The third is, of course, in terms of skill development. What are the different parameters one can measure, and how it is going to help in terms of improving the bottom line of the company. And the fourth one, which is going to be purely, which all of us grapple with, what are the challenges that are there in the organization when it comes to HR analytics. So let's, Rahul, break, Trupti and Rahul, we break the team into 4 breakout rooms. And then, we could give them around 20 minutes to discuss among themselves, because it's a question. And then we come back and then circle up and understand what are the feedback that they have, and then we stop. We have the question answer session. Is that okay, Rahul and Tripti?
Yes, ma'am. From my side, I have created four breakout room. I am assigning them in four breakout room.
Okay.
Yeah, and from my side, Rahul will also be there. So he will assist you if you need anything.
Great. Rahul, are the breakout rooms happening?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I cannot see.
Ma'am, wait for a while. I'm assigning them. How many are left in the main session? All are in breakout room. Trupti ma'am, may I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Rahul, I want to know how many are in main session and how many are joining breakout room. Can you please check?
Yeah, so we have assigned everyone
Okay,
like
no one is in
nine.
like main room, right?
Yes. So I
Okay.
have done that.
Rahul, is there everybody in the breakout rooms?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but I still see 2, 3 people here. Arjit is there, Sanjay is there.
Rahul, can you please check from your end?
Yeah, yes, yes, I can.
Yeah, who is left? Can you please check?
And how can I go into the breakout sessions?
Ma'am, you have to click on more, and there is a breakout room, and
But
you
there is
can go.
only one breakout room.
No, ma'am,
No,
I
there
have
are
created
four.
four. There are four breakout rooms.
Okay, great. I can join anyone, right?
Yeah, you can join. You can join. Now you created, ma'am, like you have given co-host as an co. You have created co-host to Viva, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am. You can go in any breakout room.
Rahul, can you please ask the team? I think none of them are, they have been moved, but they need to put on unmute and start discussing. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Hello, guys. May I audible?
Yeah, audible, sir.
Yeah, ma'am has given you a question. You have to discuss that point. So all guys are discussing.
Sir, our topic is regarding absenteeism.
Ma'am has told you know what is your topic and what you have to discuss.
No. Anybody else in this group? Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, I think let's come back to the main session because I think there was some few of them were active, but we need to kind of get this thing. Is everybody here now with us? Can I have
Yes.
a quick
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yes.
okay from everybody? Okay, great. Rajneesh asked me what was the purpose of the breakout session. Okay. So, we had spoken about this, but I am going to again talk about the breakout and maybe let's have a live discussion here itself. So we had actually worked out 4 breakout rooms, and the 4 breakout rooms where we were looking at the topic. The first topic was that absenteeism, and I would like the team to tell us that what are the parameters which you all are measuring in terms of absenteeism on the shop floor, and is there what are how it is going how is there some case study of how it is helping in terms of improving the bottom line of the company. So anybody in the team would like to share any experience here? Yes, Rajneesh, nothing was discussed in our room because I did not see anybody talking. So then we put everybody together in the same discussion room. Because if you all are all okay, I would like to unmute, I would like request all of you to unmute yourself and we can have a conversation on this, because the whole idea was to kind of have a lot of discussions between us to be able to come out with some meaningful parameters on which we can measure. So the 4 breakout rooms were, one was on absenteeism, second was on attrition, third breakout room had to look at the skill level, and the fourth had to talk about what kind of challenges they face in terms of collating data from within their industry, within their companies. So these were the 4 breakout rooms. So can I have everybody please unmute themselves and then we can have a conversation around this?
Yes, ma'am. This is Mamta.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we have absenteeism. Okay, it's collecting data, right? Daily we are downloading this absenteeism from.
I can't hear you
First,
well, actually. I can't hear you well.
yes, madam.
Yeah, this is better, Mamta. This is better. Yes, please.
Yes, madam. We are daily we are doing absenteeism and department wise also, like authorized and unauthorized, like we are debating and collecting all this data, and month-wise we are doing that, and every year data we are collecting and putting in dashboard also. So this will help us to manage the absenteeism correctly we are doing in our organization.
So you are saying that you are collecting this data in terms of absenteeism on a periodic basis, and you are looking at shift wise, section wise absenteeism, and it's also helping in terms of how are you analyzing this data, Mamta?
Ma'am, we are actually we are saving all the data in dashboards also. Collecting data and daily wise we are setting absenteeism list to the department wise also. So I'm likewise I'm collecting the data.
Okay, great, Mamta. You are collating this data, and for sure, I'm sure most of the people who are in this room are also collating this data. But what is important is that what kind of decision making are you doing based on the data which is coming in? So are we really looking at that what kind of trends which are happening month on month, and what is the, let's say, last 6 months data analysis done, and based on that how the next 6 months are going to be there, and then what kind of decisions we can take in order to ensure that we can curb absenteeism. So that's something that we could really look at it from an absenteeism perspective. Anybody else wants to share that how in their organization collating this data has helped in them taking any decisions?
Everybody, this is MG Rabbani from HimTechno.
Great.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, actually, we are facing regarding the absenteeism and different kinds of phases. We analyzing the data, particularly in the forging industry. Summer is the very adverse impacted to the in a case of absenteeism. Number one.
Correct.
Number two, India is a festive industry, festive country, and particularly in the month of March, and in the case of October, there is a two festive, major festive, and Holi and Deepavali, and that regarding the
Start
absenteeism.
model.
As far as the HimTechno Forge, we have implemented the schemes for regarding to regulate and improve the absenteeism, and we are providing the certain amount in terms of the like attendance bonus.
Correct. Correct.
And in the case of in these periods, we have increased the amount, particularly monetary benefits are increased in that particular seasons.
Correct.
Over and above, based on the analysis of the data which we have gathered, usually we plan the numbers of more employee as per the trend, specifically for the weekly trend, either in the monthly trend, and we plan the numbers of, suppose we did what we did first, we make a manpower mapping for the machine wise. If you are planning, and we are doing a weekly planning for the all machines, how much machines and how much machine we run in these weeks, and accordingly we plan that. Based on that, we plan the numbers of more manpower, including the skill and unskill. So following this philosophy for a long time, almost long time, and I think it is a very benefited to us also. And the group, if anyone have any better idea, then please welcome. Thank you, ma'am.
I think thank
Hello.
you. Hello. Yes.
This is Sridhar.
Yeah. Hi.
We do have face absenteeism issue from February to April during village yatras in local areas.
Okay.
So for that, we are doing leave plans for every week.
Oh, very
Means
interesting. Yes.
Monday to Saturday, if next week is coming. So prior week back, Friday, we do leave plan for each shift. So we are contacting with the employees and taking their leave plans. Means anyone taking or they want leave. So based on plan, we will organize the shifts. Also, we have shift schedule. Each shift schedule, we are monitoring the absenteeism.
Correct.
If people are unplanned absenteeism without information, that we do interaction session with the next day itself. Why they are unplanned absent, what was the reason. So January to April, we have faced most of the absenteeism issue without informing people are not coming. So
Correct.
also we are losing the production.
Correct.
So
Correct.
from May onwards, we started interacting with the employees directly rather than contacting to contractors.
Okay.
So connecting with directly employees. So we are reduced absenteeism most of the like percentage wise 2%. Previously it was
that's
6%.
interesting.
Now it was 3.5 to 4%. And we are monitoring day to day.
Yes, I think
this was helping us.
Great, great. I think what Mr. Rabbani also said, or Sridhar, you also said, what is important is to have this data put in terms of a dashboard to look at, actually understanding where is the problem. So you understood that the problem is in terms of, that if we talk to these people and make them realize that if there is you don't come, how it impacts the productivity, that actually helped in reducing the absenteeism. So you based on the data that you had, you did some counseling sessions and then lost the productivity. Yes. You're saying something.
Also, we do analyze past 6 month attendance and absenteeism. So those who are frequently absenting or not coming to duty, we are giving opportunity for improvement. But if they not improved, then we are taking actions on them. or
Ah,
replacing one or two
not
cases.
replacing. Yes,
So other people also improving there.
correct, correct. That's great. That's great. Yes, because taking action based on the data is very important.
Yes.
You don't really take action, it really doesn't help. Yes, yes, yes. Anybody else wants to say on absenteeism, team? Anybody?
Hello,
Yes, hello.
I'm Jnanagaran from Super Auto Forge, Chennai.
Yes, yes, yes. Please tell me.
Actually, for the absenteeism, we are having so many allowances, warm forging allowance, cold forging allowance. Normally per day, we are fixing at 65 to 70 rupees per day.
Okay.
If a person is absent, if a person is coming full attendance, that means 26 days, leaving the Sundays, we will give full warm allowance.
Okay.
Or if a person takes 1 day leave,
Hmm.
we will still give the full allowance based on the day's worked. If it takes 2 days allowance, we are reducing 20 rupees per day. That means
Okay.
getting 2,500 per month, now reduced to only 500 rupees per month.
Okay.
So
Okay.
people know they are losing the money if you take 2 days leave.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they are coming on time, and we are also having the contingency manpower to
Okay.
reduce the absenteeism. These 2
Okay.
days we are doing it from our organization. It
Oh,
really
very
helps
good.
us.
Interesting, interesting. So, you are actually using this data, and based on this data, again, you have
Correct.
made a scheme which can help in terms of not only like an attendance bonus, but not an attendance bonus. You will actually, it's a negative trend that you've put, that if you don't
Correct.
come, you will not get it. Something
Correct.
like
Correct.
that. So it is helping in the organization.
One more thing, if you take 3 days leave, we are putting no allowance, zero.
Okay. So you are
1 day full,
saying,
yes,
yeah.
1 day full attendance, 2 days 20 rupees per day, third day zero.
So
Your
I
person
think
cannot take more than 2 days.
leave. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you have made it's an attendance bonus that you have come out, but you've kind of communicated in such a way that you are going to get
Yes.
this money. But if you remain absent, you will not be able to.
Correct. This is apart from the
Second,
attendance
I
bonus what
think,
you are giving. This is
second, I
apart from the
think
attendance bonus what you are giving.
attendance from them,
That
attendance.
attendance bonus separate.
Oh,
This is warm
okay.
forging allowance exclusively for the operators who are doing in the warm forging area.
Okay, great. Great, great.
He has not told attendance bonus.
Yes.
2,000 rupees.
Hello.
Yeah, Sridhar.
We have also implemented some incentive schemes like attendance bonus apart from salary. If employee present for full month, he will get additional attendance bonus amount 2,000 rupees apart from salary.
Oh, very good.
And in gross salary itself, we have added one more thing, this attendance allowance. If person has absent for 2 days in a month, he will get some incentive also.
Great, great. That's
to
also
control the attrition rate or absenteeism, like that we have
very
implemented.
good. Very good. I think yes, attendance bonus, having that, and I think most of the companies have the attendance bonus. What is important as an attendance bonus, I think, is to understand that what is that figure which will excite the people. Because many a times you have an attendance bonus, but it is not really motivating for employees. So to understand that what is the amount which will actually motivate the workers on the shop floor is something which is very important. Okay, great. Now let's move to the second question or the second parameter, which is on attrition. I would like to understand that what are the practices that participants are doing in order to look at attrition on the shop floor? What are the practices that the companies are doing? Any thought process on that? Any team member? Anybody else apart from the people who have spoken on attrition? Are anybody using which areas we are having an attrition? Is fatigue playing a role? Is supervisor analysis really happening as per that? What is the any predictive analysis being done by any of the companies?
Once again, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, ma'am, this is once again MG Rabbani.
Yes.
In terms of attrition rate, first of all, we analyzing the data for the year to year in the Forge. Secondly, we have based on that analysis, we have implemented exit interview. And It is only between the candidates and HR.
Mm-hmm.
We
Okay.
are also open regarding the feedback from the candidates.
Mm-hmm.
It is a keep confidential regarding any feedback given by the employee who has left the company. In some cases, we also receive the negative feedback from the officers, but in a positive manner, we implemented the feedback which is a genuine in the nature and regarding fatigue, workload, and behavioral attitude from the superiors.
Mm-hmm.
And we observed that our attrition rate reduced from the 8% to 5.5% in the couple of years back.
Okay, that's good.
Just I'm sharing one single example. Just we have implemented one exit interview process and we are getting the better result. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, very good. So this you are talking about understanding the reasons for the attrition and based on some exit interview analysis and working on that. So of course this is something that many of the companies, but what is important to also analyze is what are the things that are today that can cause attrition from a predictive manner. Means let's look at the high risk employees within the company. For example, if someone is not actively participating, if someone was not having absenteeism earlier and now has started taking a lot of chutti, leave holidays, or for that matter you have some supervisor where suddenly there is a lot of drain happening in terms of people leaving, then analyzing those aspects and then based on that taking certain decisions. For example, maybe counseling that supervisor, or for that matter counseling that employee and talking to them can also help in terms of curbing the attrition, for sure. That is there. Anybody else using any other thing in terms of attrition, reducing the attrition?
Yes.
Any team member?
Hello, madam.
Hello. Hello, please speak. Hello. I think he cannot speak. Yes.
Ma'am, Rishi this side.
Yeah. Hi, Rishi. Yes, tell me.
I'm good, ma'am. When we talk about the attrition analysis, like the gentleman said that they are mainly focusing on the exit interviews.
Yes.
I just want to know how the if we have to choose between the employee satisfaction survey versus the exit interview, which tool I think which tool would be the better one to have a predictive analysis kind of thing. How the
I think it's a good question, Rishi, and I think I would like to spend some time on this. Exit interview is something which is done after an event has happened. That means the person has already decided to go, or maybe he's going, and you ask him what did not work for him in this organization. But today's way of working and today's new way of working is to look at what kind of predictive working that you can do in order to ensure that how you can retain employees. So if you see the trend is moving from employee attrition to more on employee retention, and more so for skilled employees, this is important. And considering that, what is important to do is nowadays more and more people are doing employee satisfaction surveys, and not only employees are doing satisfaction surveys once a year. Today, in fact, I would suggest that you do dipstick studies which can be done every quarter to just understand trends.
Right.
So that is something that predictive analysis talks about, doing something before the event happens so that you can use that for a better decision making. For example, as he said that, by counseling people, we could reduce the absenteeism from this much to this much. So it is a predictive indicator because you are working with the people on that. But for attrition, most of the time we use exit interview analysis. My thinking is that way forward, of course you should do exit interview analysis, this is a given, you have to do it, but add it up with something which is on a survey to understand before what is the trend in terms of who are the high risk employees in the company, and can we work on that.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else wants to ask any questions, please? On attrition, is that what kind of practices have you all done based on this attrition? To improve the bottom line, attrition is key today with, it's a talent war. And I believe that, we have to be actually talent magnets, even at the shop floor, to be able to kind of attract the right kind of workforce on the shop floor also. And therefore, what is important is to understand your workforce well, analyze from where they are coming, what festivals really the dip is happening, which section goes during which time. For example, if you have a good diverse crowd in the company, and you have some people who are coming from Maharashtra, some people who are coming from Bihar, UP, some people coming from Nepal, some people coming from South, then you also distribute the absenteeism during the festival time. So it is also important to analyze how diverse is your crowd, and have a state diversity parameter also within the company, and ensure that you have only, even talk to your contractors, that only X percentage of people you get from this state. And so that this will also help in curbing the absenteeism to a very large extent within the company. So that's also something that we can look at. Now we go to the third parameter that we talked about, which is in terms of skill gap analysis, because even working on that can help in terms of improving the productivity. So can anybody tell me what all are they doing in terms of, apart from the normal one, which is, training mandates, training effectiveness, on the job training, is there any other things that you all are doing in terms of, skill gap analysis? Anybody, any team member? Sridhar, do you want to share? Anybody wants to share what else can you do in terms of skill gap analysis? Because I think team, to going to only using just training man hours to actually looking at what are the skill required in each of the workstations, and mapping based on that, what are the actual skill sets which are there with the people, and based on the gap, actually identifying the training programs, not doing on a paper, but really understanding the skill level which is required, can make a lot of difference. Yes, Sridhar, please.
Hello.
Yes,
presently, we are not doing that skill mapping, but since 1 month, we are planning to get it done, that one. So we have involved some technical teams.
Okay.
Means we have some machines like forging machines,
Yes.
forging or press machines.
Yes.
So particularly if person, what are the skill required to perform that particular job? So we are working on that.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Based on that requirement, we will interact with the employees, what they have existing knowledge.
Correct.
Okay. Whatever they have gap in required versus actual. So that will be converted into training plan.
Training. Correct. Correct.
So that we are thinking to start that one.
We are thinking.
Recently.
In fact, Sridhar, it's a good thing, because this is one subject which I feel that most of the HR people still work on absenteeism, but a very few work on attrition. And a very few actually work on skill gap analysis, and actually working on this whole fatigue and improving the productivity, looking at the shift compliance KPI. So if as HR professionals, we want to become strategic business partners, then actually we have to move from not looking at only absenteeism, but also looking at, a skill gap analysis, understanding what is the composition which is required in terms of that shift, and then working very closely with the PPC team to see who has to be put in what shifts. So that if we as HR and PPC work together and join hands in this, it can really help in terms of improving the bottom line of the organization.
Yes.
So it's a new concept that we are talking about, which is the shift compliance KPI, but it is all about looking at actually who are supposed to, as for the skill gap combination, who are supposed to be there in that shift, and actually what people came in. Because most of us work on numbers as HR. We work on how many numbers we are supposed to give as a headcount and how many have come in. But we have to move beyond that to look at what skill sets were required, and against that, what are we providing? That's something. Yes. Anybody else, any team member wants to share any practice on skill gap analysis, training? Anybody doing anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Machine wise. Even maintenance ಇದೆಯೋ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲ ತೆಗೆದಿಟ್ಟೆವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕುಂತ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ 1-to-1 ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ ಜೊತೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮಷಿನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನೇನ್ ಗೊತ್ತೈತೋ.
Yes. Anybody else? I think Sridhar, you have someone talking. Maybe you can mute it. But anybody else wants to talk, or anybody, Sridhar, any query here from any of your team members? Great. So this is on the skill gap analysis, and how you can use skill and training effectiveness to actually, that's a third parameter which the HR folks must look at if you're looking at improving the productivity. I want to also ask the team, what are the challenges you face in terms of HR having interesting dashboards being put up for the management? Anybody wants to speak of any challenge where, you know, we can give you some tips on, or the team and the participants can give some tip? Anybody can speak about any challenges? Yes, someone is saying, has written to me, from last 2 months we are facing more attrition rate in the supervisor level. They are gone for long leave and didn't come back. Even we tried to connect, we failed. Please give suggestions on controlling this rate. So I think it's a very interesting thing that she's asked that, and as HR, I think we have a very big issue that we need to keep calling up people, and they don't really land up. We keep talking to them, and many a times, in fact, I have seen a lot of HR people who in the month of May are only sitting and actually bringing out the list and calling up people to say, आप आ जाओ, अभी काम पे आ जाओ, कल आ रहा है, कभी टिकट डाल रहा है, कभी ये कर रहा है. So I understand what you are talking about, but Mamta, for this issue to be understood well, what is important for us to understand is that why the attrition has happened. And what is important to understand, if it is a continuous phenomena, then maybe we have to go deep. We have to understand the root cause why it is happening. If it is a one-off with that person, it could be maybe his peers and people can say. But if it is a trend which is happening, as Mr. Rabbani said, it is important to do the exit interview analysis. Maybe do also a quick satisfaction survey to understand what are the concerns that are at the supervisor level. Is it that, they are really facing an issue? Is there some, internal conflict which is troubling them? Or is it that it's there is a lot of pressure because of which they're taking? So understanding the real reason behind the attrition will actually help you in taking certain decisions in terms of what policies can come in. If you have a reason which is more in terms of conflict within the team, then maybe some job rotations will help. If there is a reason that, they have in terms of not having the right kind of manpower, but a pressure from the, the production manager to give the output, then, there's a different solution to it. If it is something where, there is a skill issue, then training could be a concern. So depending upon, first, you will have to analyze as to what is the reason for the attrition to happen in the organization, and based on that, what is the we will be able to, you can take the decision. So again, I'm telling you here, again, I come back to the same thing. HR analytics can play a great role if you actually analyze the data which is available, put it into information, and from information to insights. Then it can really help you in terms of the decision making. So this is Mamta from my side. Anybody else wants to say what are the challenges they face in terms of data gathering? really to put the dashboards together, what kind of challenges do we face? Anybody? Because we all are talking about big things, putting dashboards together, but many a times I've seen that HR is struggling in terms of really having these dashboards, put together itself. So anybody wants to share any challenges that they are facing, and we can probably have a discussion around, how data gathering is important. So in my opinion, if that, what is important to understand is, first of all, what to measure. When it comes to looking at the data, what is it that you want to measure? And that has to be decided based on the business challenges that are being faced. So if you understand the business challenges that are there and what is as HR we can measure, then you can start looking at collating that data and putting it onto an deck. For example, I've seen in one company that, of course, as I told you, training is a basic example, that all of us talk about training just because it's a requirement coming from the customer. But are we genuinely looking at training from a perspective of skill level? I want to share one example of a company which actually reduced the labor cost because they looked at the composition of the skills which are required. They had a production head who kept telling them that अरे manpower नहीं है. When the manpower was provided, they said कि अरे वो जो skill मेरे को चाहिए वो skill के हिसाब से नहीं है, इसके लिए we are not being able to meet the numbers. It is very easy for a shop floor guy to put it on manpower is not there, or it's a new manpower and therefore their productivity is not coming. But when you actually identify what is the skill composition which is required, then what happens is you also fix the cost accordingly. You may not require all highly skilled in that team. Maybe you required a few, 2, 3, 4 highly skilled and 2, 3, 4 mid-level, semi-skilled, and maybe some in unskilled. But every time the thought is that, okay, I've not got a skilled workforce. So defining that composition can actually help you in also reducing the cost of that team and giving a tool in the hands of the HR people to be able to talk to the production folks that yes, it is not that we are only giving you headcount, we are also looking at the skill requirement which is required, and based on that also we are providing the data. So it can help you team in terms of also reducing the man labor cost, because the cost of a highly skilled person is much higher than what is that of a unskilled person. So if you work on the combination well, then you can actually reduce the entire labor cost of the company. So looking at the skill combination while providing the manpower, what is required versus actually is very important. Looking at the training that has to be given based on that is also very critical. This which will also help you in reducing the labor cost within the company. And this data will also help in terms of being able to answer well to the production team. Okay, that this is the kind of analysis, hey team, I have done. So for it's easy for otherwise I have seen that whenever there is a rejection, the first people who are to be blamed are the HR people, that okay, you have given a new manpower or you have given no manpower and therefore we are not being able to meet the numbers. So with this, I think can you please, Rahul, go back to the presentation, please?
Yeah, for sure, ma'am.
So can you please put it full screen? Yeah. So if you see, we come back to the key takeaways of, what this session talked about, that first of all, that if you have the right kind of HR analytics, it can actually, we have seen a lot of examples of how, people data can help in cost saving, how it can really help in terms of cost saving. We talked about skill, we talked about attrition, we talked about absenteeism. It is also talks about how if you systematically look at the people matrices, how it can help in improving the efficiency of the plant. and we've talked about absenteeism, we've talked about, someone also spoke that without incentives, how we can actually take care of absenteeism. And my answer to that would be by counseling, by actually creating a culture of engagement within the organization. So that's not something which is related to HR analytics. That's another topic to be talked about. But as HR, apart from looking at data, our role is also human, and to take care of the engagement of people will also help in terms of improving the overall absenteeism in an organization. We talked about certain practical tools which we can use, and it is very critical to understand that HR can be really a core pillar when it comes to operational excellence. Yeah. So with this, we want to kind of look at open for any other question answers that people have in this team, if they have. And then if not, we would just like to quickly take you through our company profile, and then we can close the session. So over to the team if there are any questions anybody has, or otherwise, Trupti, you want to take the question answer session?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please.
So now the floor is open for questions, if any. So if any delegate has any question, please unmute yourself and ask the questions directly.
Madam, in data collection, we collect the employee data, on-roll employee data very easily. But major factor comes to this contract employees, madam. There is a high retention rate, attrition rate also there. So they are changing every week, month like that. So data collection of the contract employees is little bit challenging. What we can do?
I think, Dhananjay, you have asked a very relevant question that, the entire automotive industry of ours actually works on, contractual labor. And I think 80% of the workforce that we have on the shop floor is contractual labor, which keeps rotating. So when we are looking at HR analytics, how can we, really talk about, how do we collate data, because that becomes a very challenging thing for the HR. And here I would like to say that, one of the practices which we did it at one of the clients was that we, we gave the ownership to the contractors to give us certain information about the contractual labor when they join the organization. So for example, the state diversity that we talked about, the kind of experience the person has earlier, the kind of, so we made a table in which the contractor had to give us certain information about the contractual labor once he brings in. And that also was filled in through a kiosk into the company. So it becomes very easy to collate that data. Of course, there was a thing that, the person has to be there for more than 4 days in the company to be able to put this data together. But still, there was an effort made to also add data about this contractual labor. And especially during this summer times and the festival time, that data was very helpful, because we could, some of the HR people in the time office could actually call these people, talk to them, and understand certain trends in order to be able to, take some decisions based on this labor workforce. So that's from my, that's there. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions, please?
Yeah. Any question further?
Ma'am, this is MG Rabbani from Himtechno.
Yes, Mr. Rabbani.
How can you reduce the fatigue?
Very good question. How can you reduce the fatigue? So, when it comes to fatigue, I think there are some companies who are looking at certain short breaks is, one of the things that we have looked at. First of all, it's important to analyze that at what time of the day really the fatigue comes in. And, this is done through data analysis. And is it that, what kind of does people coming in OT really is helping in terms of is the fatigue coming during the overtime hours. So understanding the timing at which this fatigue comes in within the person is the first thing of studying within the shift. The second thing which is important to understand is that how we can actually have certain stipulated breaks of short time within the period to be able to reduce the phase based on the times when the fatigue sets in. The third thing which one can look at is that how we can actually rotate the shifts in such a way that people don't consistently come in the night or come in the day. They are kind of rotated around to actually reduce the fatigue. Because I've seen people really, as I told you, I gave an example, people continuously coming in night shift and then working during the day at other place and vice versa to ensure. So we have to first of all study when the fatigue sets in. We have to have stipulated breaks. The shifts have to be decided systematically, and the shift rotation should happen systematically within the organization. And the fourth thing is that we also look at a systematic between two shifts that a worker is coming, you have a 12 hours break systematically so that the rest comes in. I also have companies, we have looked at breakfast and dinner to be served and even evening snacks to be served so that they don't really have a lot of work to be done after the shift is over, so that they can kind of their lunch and breakfast and everything is taken care of, so they don't have work to be done before they come to work. At home they don't have, because most of these people are staying alone. So that's also, so you have to define different practices based on again studying your workforce and understanding that.
Ma'am, I'm adding that what we are doing at our plants.
Yes.
We are managing the shift like just employee have at least 10 to 15-minute break after 2 hours.
That's good. Yes.
In terms of tea time, then lunch. In night shifts, we serve the tea at the workplace after 10 to 15 minutes in break. We have also a schedule to 4 to 4:30 rest time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's in fact a very good thing, because as I told you, having scheduled breaks is the way of reducing fatigue, especially in a high heat environment.
Particularly forging is a high, always hammer forging is always high and very hot.
Correct. In fact, at many places they've started giving that summer drink also, which can kind of cool the body. There's milk also being served at places in order to help the person. So there are many ways, again, as I said, that analysis to be done of what is impacting. Not necessarily people want to not work. Sometimes there are actual reasons which we need to analyze, and based on that we need to take certain policy decisions. So that's something that is important.
In a hot season like May and June, we are providing the Ampana basically.
Exactly.
Ampana is a very famous drink. So we provide them with 25 cc's for each employee.
Correct. In fact, in Bombay, one of the clients we have who's also giving the summer drink, the same as Ampana. Delhi mein bhi dena padta hai, Gurgaon mein bhi, because Manesar mein we have.
Earlier we provides the Nibu Pani, but that was not very practical. As Nibu provide करते थे उनको, तो फिर वो ठंडा पानी फ्री है, तो फिर हम then we provided the sachet of Ampana.
Correct.
With the discussion of union, we are and that is the working. एक रेस्ट मिल जाता है, एक टी के जगह पे आमपना दे देता है.
हाँ, ठीक है. That is good. And having the scheduled breaks, and again I come back to that if we have to tell the management that we want to give these breaks, they say, what are we talking? But if we have the data which can help in analyzing what is, what are we losing, and that every 4 days the person is coming, the 5th day he's absent because fatigue sets into the body, and we can actually show that data and show that through a HR analytics, then actually we can take certain decisions. So as I told you, HR analytics can help in giving a great business case, developing a business case for any HR intervention that you need to do. So please guys, when the next time you go to the management, it is important to have some data analytics done in order to justify the reasons that you want any action to be taken. So that's all about, that's what HR analytics is all about. So anybody else, any questions, please? Great, Trupti. I don't think there are any questions. So, Ashwani ji, maybe it's time to kind of,
Yeah. Okay. So further to that, you would like to give any further details, or
Yes,
should
I will give the further details in 5 minutes and then we close it. Yes, please. Yeah. So, just team, for your information, we are a company which was started in 2018, and we are based out of Pune, Baner, and we have pan India working done, and we work very closely in the auto component space. We work a lot on with the white collar. We work a lot. We are known for working on culture building in organizations. We've done a lot of successful projects, whether it is in terms of culture building, a culture of accountability or engagement or capability building. So that's one of our major verticals. There's a second vertical that we work on, which is in terms of talent acquisition. We do a lot of work in terms of hiring, especially at the senior and mid-level positions. We are known for C-level hiring also. And the third thing that we have is a SaaS-based HRMS product. It's a cloud product that we have, which is a full-fledged hire to retire product that we have. So these are the three services. We are a team of around 40 people working out of the Pune office, and have a client in North, in Chennai, in Bangalore, and in Pune, Bombay. So that's where we work on. Next, Rahul. In terms of the HRMS, these are the modules that we have. We work a lot with the staff, but because personally I have worked a lot on the shop floor, dealt with unions also, and working a lot on strategic HR consulting, we took up this subject. But we are working, we have an HRMS module which is working on right from payroll, leave attendance, performance management, task management. We also have a DWM integrated into our HRMS product. We have increments, variable pay, IDP, PIP. We have a L&D module which talks about all the skill mapping that I was talking about, leave and attendance, succession and career planning, employee lifecycle management. These are the modules that we have, and it's based on the it's also has a mobile application that we have developed. Yeah. Next one, Rahul. This is on a great technology because we are using the latest technology for this, which is it's a cloud HRMS, and we have AWS server that we are using. So it's completely protected. We are in the process of getting the ISO 27000 certification for our company too. Next, Rahul. And these are some of the dashboards that we already have within the system, whether it is KPI ratings, whether it's trainings, whether it's skill mapping, whether it's 360 degrees, employee satisfaction surveys. All of that is available on our dashboards to be able to help the HR. For example, if you see here, you can see a 9-box matrix that we are using. We also have a web analysis being done in terms of the competencies of people. So these are the interesting dashboards that we have. So this is a quick update on our HRMS product, which is there, and our organization, which is working on HR advisory, talent acquisition, and HRMS. So with this, thank you from the PHIH team, and thank you to AIFI for giving us this opportunity to share with you some of the insights that I had over the last 28 years in terms of working with different automotive companies. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to request Mr. Ashwani Joshi for the closing remarks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And thank you very much, Vibhaji, and all the participants. I think thanks, Vibhaji, for giving the insights on HR analytics. I seen that you have really touched all the key factors.
Sir, please share the PPT.
Especially the attrition, skill gap challenges, and how to reduce the fatigue and all. But I think the most important factor, especially in forging, maybe the attrition and skill gap. And as we have discussed that, I think the database decision will always be better. And as you have suggested that, whenever the HR heads or managers support for the decision making, they should have the facts and figures with them. As you also said, taking a break in between is going to be more productive, or continuing work is going to be more productive. That is something which need to be captured. And that is very, very important. And that too, in break in between leaves and all, those are the things where I think without data, we take a decision and ultimately it affects the productivity, efficiency, and resulting in the harming the bottom line as well. But since you have touched upon all the key factors, and I think participants were also very active, so thank you very much for this. And since you have already shared also what are the services which you provide, which is the interest of the industry, and especially in forging how the challenges can be, handled. So we will see if we can take it further to the next level. This was the initial webinar just for creating awareness how in forging industry HR analytics can help. And I think many companies are already doing it. We have seen that. But maybe some of them need some hand-holding or some other help. We will see how we can create or design the next program after this awareness session. And thank you very much to you and all the participants. And thanks, Rahul, from your side and our side, Rahul Tripti, and my team who has organized this program for the AFI members. So thank you very much. And we'll see how to take it to the next level. Yeah.
Thank you, team, and thank you all the participants for really giving your time for this. And anytime you want to kind of talk to us, we are always available. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Rahul. Thank you, Trupti. Thank you, Rahul, again.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Ram. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Nice interacting with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank
We
you.
will close the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Sridhar. Thank you.
Thanks on this system. Good evening.